Hi, third graders. Happy Tuesday. Today we are going to keep working with clocks. Look, I made some fun ones. We are going to be on 14-2, page 745 through 749. Okay? 745 through 749. If you are feeling like, uh-oh, Miss Washburn, don't move on too soon. Come and talk to me at Zoom and you and I can work together. That's not a bad thing. That's advocating for yourself. And you're saying, maybe I just need a little bit more practice and I'll be feeling good. Okay, so we'll talk about it at Zoom. If you want to go back and work a little bit on 14-1 with me, I promise I'll make it as fun as I can. But if you're like, I need a little bit more, okay, that's great and I'm happy to help you. So we're looking at 14-2, units of time measured. Okay, you're going to want your little clock. You're going to want your book open to page 745. And I'm looking up at the top. Denise went to see a movie. The movie started at 1:05 p.m. All right, so I'm looking. My shorthand is pointing at 1. That's my hour hand. So it's 1. Let me get my marker out. 1. And then remember, I count by fives. 5. Okay. 1:05. That's when her movie started. Make sure it's thick enough so you guys can see. Okay, now, the movie started at 1:05. It ended at 2:35. So look right here. See where my hour hand is pointing? In between the 2 and the 3. So we know it goes with the 2. 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 2:35. Okay? Now the question is, how long did the movie last? So, what we want to do is we want to use reasoning. We want to use the clock faces to help us determine the change in time. All right? And I'm looking right here and I see a little bit of a difference. And I'm looking right here. I'm just looking at my red hand. I see a little bit of a difference. Okay? So, if I'm looking at this, my red hand is pointing at 1. It was 1:05. My red hand now is pointing between 2 and 3. So how long did the movie last in hours? It went from 1 to 2. So it lasted 1 hour and how many minutes? So remember, we're starting here now and we're going to be counting to here. So this is where I bring out my handy dandy clock. I get it set up to 1:05. Okay, and now watch, I'm going to take it 1 whole hour. Ready? 1 whole lap around the clock and it's pointing right back to that 5. That's 1 hour, right? 60 minutes. And just because it didn't start here, didn't start up at the top, doesn't mean I didn't take 1 full lap. Let me backwards. Let me show you again. Starting here, I'm taking it 1 full lap. So 5, 10, 15, 20. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So that was 1 whole hour. 60 minutes is 1 hour. Now I'm going to look at my minutes. I end up facing the 7. So now I'm counting by 5s. Remember? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay? Even though it's pointing at 7 and 35, I didn't start at the top. So it's 1 hour and 30 minutes. Whoa. Getting a little fancy and a little sloppy. Let me show you one more time. Back it up. All right. So this is where the clock starts. See how mine matches? All right. So I'm going to take it 1 whole hour because I want my clock to end up looking like this. So I know I have 1 whole hour and then I'm looking at my minutes. And I'm starting from here, but I'm counting by myself. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So I'm not following the numbers there. I'm counting by myself. And now my clock looks like that. I have 1 hour and 30 minutes. Yay! Okay, so look back. Without counting hours and minutes, how do you know the movie Dennis went to was less than 2 hours? Well, if I'm looking from here to here, my hour hand didn't go down to the 3. It only went 1 spot. right? So it went from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock and then some minutes. So I'm just looking visually, without even counting, it looks, or I can visually see that it didn't move more than an hour, right? It didn't move more than 2 hours, or between 1 and 2 hours. Oh gosh, I hope I didn't start getting confusing. All right, let's keep going, okay? 7:46, I'm up at the top. How can you find elapsed time, okay? So, I gotta get my clock ready. You guys get your yellow clock. That beginning, Janie took a part in a charity walk. The walk started at 7:10 a.m. All right, so let me get this. 7:10, all right? Now this actually kind of helps me get my bearings. So I know that my hour hand is going to be pointing towards the 7, and I know that my minute hand is going 5:10, okay? 7:10. And on your little clock, you could get yours set up to have it saying 7:10. All right. All right, so notice my my red's a little past 7. You have to have a little forgiveness with these clocks. They're not perfect, but I could make mine a little bit better. Just a little past 7. Okay, I think that's matching. Now, it ended at 11:20, okay? So, minutes, hours, facing 11, a little bit after 11, 11:05, 11:05, 11:10, 11:15, 11:20. Okay. All right, we feeling okay so far? So here's what we can do. We find the starting time. All right, so we know how to read this clock. My hour hand is between 7 and 8, so we're going to say it's 7, 5, 10. 7:10. And I'm looking at when it ended, all right? Hour hand is after the 11, it's between 11 and 12, but it's not 2:12 yet, so it's going to be 11, 5, 10, 15, 20, 11:20. Okay, so now, what we can look at is we can count the hours, and then we're gonna count the minutes, okay? So if you want, we have to get our hour to be by that 11, okay? So let's start moving it, and we're going to keep track. All right, I can actually use tally marks if I need to. 1. Oops, sorry. It's, yeah, I'm getting to the 2. 2. Keeping it right, keeping my minutes going right back to that 2. 3. 4. Okay, did I get it past 11? Yes? Okay, so I know it is 4 hours. All right. Now, the reason I brought it, I was only counting the hours. So that's why I brought my minute hand back to look like where it started. Now I'm counting my minutes. All right. So I'm going from here and I want to end there. Remember, I count by 5s. 5, 10. Oh, 4 hours and 10 minutes. And what I can do is I could count like this, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 hours, and then I could go from 10 to 20, 10 minutes, okay? Now, convince me. Remember, first we count the hours, then we count the minutes. Convince me. After the charity walk, Janie talked with friends from 11:25, so let's get our start time, 11:25. All right, how are we gonna set that up? You could be working on your little yellow clock. 11:25. So my hour hand is pointing a little bit after 11, between 11 and 12, right? 25. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oh gosh, I was so close. 11:25. Okay, actually, these are cut up sticky notes, so isn't that funny? All right, 11:25 to 11:40. Okay, so I'm going to keep that there because, look, it's between 11 and 12, so it's 11:40. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, when I'm setting my clock up, I start from my 0. But when I'm counting for how much time is spent, I start from where I am and I start counting by 5s. So let me get my clock set up to look like this. 11:20. Whoops. No, 11:25. Sorry, 11:25, right? And she went from 11:25 to 11:40. How many hours passed if it was 11:25 to 11:40? 0 hours, right? It's still 11. So 0 hours, which you don't necessarily have to write. I'm writing it to make sure you guys see it, okay? So now, if we counted our hours, 0. Now we're counting our minutes. And we're going from here. We're starting at 5, 10, 15. How many minutes did she talk for? 15 minutes. 0 hours and 15 minutes. Oh, I'm actually liking this one. I'm liking it, and I'm liking my little sticky clocks. Okay, then lunch. So this is how much she talked for. Then lunch was served from 11:45, okay? Oh, 11:45. To 12, until 2:10. So 11:45. We already know how long she talked. Now we're looking for lunch. Oh my goodness, did they trick me and give me too much information? How long did lunch last? Oh, too much information. Look at that. All right, forget this clock for a second. We're looking at the start and the end here. So lunch, hey, learn from me. Read the whole question through before you get started. I just get so excited. Okay, lunch was served at 11:45. And it ended at 2:10. Okay, so here's my start. I got to get it set up at 11:45. Between 11 and 12, 11, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, that's set up. Now, just going to get that one out of my way. Now the end, 2:10. So my hour is pointing at the 2, and then I'm going 5, 10. Oof. Okay, I'm going to just overlap it like that. I hope you guys can, no, you can't see the red underneath. I'm talking crazy. All right, let me pull that out. I'll put the red on top so you can see it. 2, 10. Okay, so let's count, right? And you've got your clock right here. Let's make our clock look exactly like this. My hours between 11 and 12. And I've got it pointing at the 9, right? Because that starts at 11:45 and it goes to 2:10. So first, we count our hours, then we count our minutes. So ready? I'm going to bring this all the way around and right back here. And I'm going to count how many times I do that. 1. Is that pointing at the right spot? Not yet. 2. Okay. It's between 1 and the 2. Okay, wait. Okay, so all right, this might be just clock error, okay? So I'm going from 11, I go 1, it's 12 o'clock, 2, it's 1, and so that's 2 full hours. Now the reason I'm showing you this is because once I pull it here, it goes past 2 o'clock, and it would be how many minutes? Let's count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 2 hours and 25 minutes. All right, let's keep going. If you're like, oh, Miss Washburn, I get it. That one was kind of tough because of the clock looking the way it does. Let's keep going, and we can always, work on that during Zoom. Okay, so another example, looking up at the top at 7:47. You can use a number line to measure elapsed time. Right? When you make a number line for a famous person, you use that number line. That's measuring time just in years, not minutes or hours. but you can also do that as well. Janie's charity walk lasted 4 hours and 10 minutes. So if you look, she went from 7:10 to 11:10, right? They counted the hours first, then they counted the minutes, right? If you're looking right there, look at how tiny my book is. That's so hard for me to read. All right, number 1 on guided practice. If the start time, let me clear my board, get all ready. I'm going to move back over here because I feel like my head covers this clock a little too much. Okay. If the start time is 7:15, hours pointing at 7, between 7 and 8, and then 5, 10, 15. Okay, if the start time is 7:15 and the end time is 8:05, why do you not have to count hours to find the elapsed time? Well, if the end time is 8:05, my hour didn't move that much, right? 7:15 to 8:05, 5. Okay, well, if I did that, let's check why. All right, so I've got 7:15. If I go all the way around, I passed what it should look like. It doesn't equal an hour. It's less than an hour, right? Because I'm going from 7 to 8, but I don't have that many minutes. So it's always good to check with our clock if we need to, but I just have to count my minutes. So I started here, and I end up here. So ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, right? So it's 50 minutes. The elapsed time is less than an hour. All right, let's take a look at the next one. A movie started at 2:30 p.m. and ran for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, so a movie started at 2:30 and it ran for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're not going to use these clocks. We're going to use our clock right here. Let's get our clock to 2:30. All right, my hour hand is pointing at 2, between 2 and 3, and my minute hand is pointing at 30. All right, because it's between 2 and 3, I know it's 2:30. All right, so now, it started at 2:30 and ran for 2 hours. Ready? We're going to take we're going to take this around 2 times to move our hour hand. Ready? 1 hour, 2, because remember 60 minutes, you move in my minutes hand, equals 1 hour. So I did that twice. Now, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we're going to start from here. 5, 10, 15. What time did the movie end? Oh, I'm so happy I have this clock. Isn't that fun? All right, so what time did the movie end? Well, let's read this. If it is pointing at 5:45, but, okay, remember these clocks are a little bit off, so, whoops, maybe I got to push it right there. It's between 4 and 5. Now, the reason I thought it was weird because it was pointing right at the 5 is because usually when it's getting on this side of the clock, it's going to be pointing more towards 6, right? So let's go back real quick. Started at 2:15. Started at 2:30. I go 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, so 2 plus 2 is 4. So that gives me 4. And then I've got 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15. So that would end up being 4:45. All right? So that's why we got to be careful that that clock doesn't trick us. So if it went 2 hours and 2 hours and 15 minutes, it's going to end at 4:45. Okay? And look, 2 plus 2 is 4. 30 plus 15 is 45. Look at that. All right. Keep on moving. Here we go. The next one, number 3. Yes, number 3. Draw arrows on the second clock to count the hours from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. What is the elapsed time? Okay, so let me get my clock ready. 11 a.m. So I know my minutes are right there. Okay. To 5 p.m. minute hand number 12, 5 p.m. Okay, so we're counting hours. Remember, that's our steps. We count hours first, then we count minutes. So if we are going from 11 to 5, I like using this clock to help me, but on yours, okay, we're going to set this one down for a second. We'll check with it. We're going to count our hours. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hours, okay? So you should be drawing in your swoops to make sure that you can see that, right? So swoop 1, 1. Swoop 2, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, it ends at that. So 6 hours. Now let's check. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times around the clock, 6 hours. There we go. Yay. Okay. So I know I'm getting close on time. I know I don't want to keep you guys too long. So we're looking at number 4. The start time was 6:30 p.m. The end time was 9:50 p.m. All right, so the start time 6:30, the end time 9:50. Start time between 6 and 7, 30. Now how did I get that? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So hour hand is between 6 and 7, so I know it's 6:30. Okay, and then my end time is 9:50. Ooh, that's kind of late. Okay, so it's going to be between 9 and 10. Okay, 50, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 9:50. Okay, so what they showed you is the hour swoops and then the minute swoops, right? And I'm going to show you the hour spins and then the minute spins. So I've got it on 6:30. 6, it's between 6 and 7, so my hour hand is 6, and then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 6:30. Okay, so now I've got to get my red up between 9 and 10. So let's count how many hours. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, there's 3 hours. 3 hours. Okay, now let's count our minutes. Remember, we're starting 5, 10, 15, 20, because I want to make it look like that. 3 hours and 20 minutes. All right, now you could do the swoops as well. Let me show you. I go from here to 10. From the 6 to between the 9 and the 10. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 3 hours, right? I could even start here. 1, 2, 3. It falls in between. Now I'm counting my minutes. So 3 hours. Now 5, 10, 15, 20. That's where I get those both, okay? All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to give it a try, all right? And then that way I know, hey, pump the brakes at Zoom if you're like, oh, Miss Washburn, no, you didn't do what you needed to in this lesson. We need to go back and do it again, okay? And sometimes that happens. I'm telling you, sometimes I word things wrong. I talk too much, all of that jazz. So what I want you to try on page 747, I want you to please try numbers 5, number 6, and number 7. 5, 6, and 7. That's what I want you to try. Now remember, in your blue packet, we're doing page 2 of multiplication. Now don't worry about the crossword. I've got it right over here somewhere. I know I saw it. Okay, so we did page 1. Now we're working on page 2. Remember, the main thing is for you to worry about this, okay? If you love crosswords, Jackson Brayton, I know you do, and you want to do this, great. But this is the main part that I'm focusing on, all right? And you're like, Miss Washburn, you just made me watch a 24-minute video, and you want me to do the number search and those 3 problems? So here's my priority. Right here and these 3 problems, come see me at Zoom. If you're like, oh no, Miss Washburn, I need your help, I am happy to help you. I will slow it down, I'll go back, I'll reword things, I'll get different clocks or whatever we need to do, so that way I can help you understand it a little bit better. All right, thanks, third graders. I talk to you soon.